good college education is meant to allow students to embrace all path-breaking scholarship, especially a subaltern point of view which may challenge the status quo. By doing so, a college becomes a cradle of enlightenment and not a prison of prejudice and parochial thinking. But of late, whether it's JNU, St. Stephen's, or other self-styled liberal centers of learning like Lady Shriram College, they appear to be slowly but surely shuttering themselves off against new ideas. In a supreme irony, as the nation pays homage to the maker of India's constitution, B.R. Ambedkar, a Dalit leader affiliated to the BJP, has been barred from giving a talk on the great man's legacy at Lady Shriram College. While officially no reason was cited by LSR for barring Guru Prakash Paswan, Times Now has access to WhatsApp chat, which shows that the faculty succumbed to pressure from the hard left. The same hard left, viewers, that defended the right of free speech when it came to the proponents of soft Naxalism, like Arundhati Roy, Kanhaiya Kumar, Afzal League frontman Umar Khalid, and pro-Islamist Professor Nivedita Menon, to rationalize violent act against the Indian state and, of course, against some communities. Now, viewers, it is ironical that you have a growing list of individuals barred from top academic institutions that only exist to expose their students to a wider array of ideas. Before I take you to that list, let me acquaint you with how Mr. Guru Prakash was snubbed. There was, and there has been, no official statement from LSR, only a communique to Mr. Guru Prakash Paswan. And it said, viewers, we regret to inform you that talk needs to be called off. There has been no such order from the administration. However, there is a huge outcry from the student body. Student body stating their disagreement with this talk. Reaction based on developments in Karnataka and JNU. Apparently, Mr. Guru Prakash's ideas on the hijab controversy or on JNU were not palatable. These, we will refrain from the atmosphere becoming a political space. It was in the best interest of institution, therefore, to cancel this event. Cancel this event. Well, Guru Prakash has not, of course, reacted with venom. But as I said, viewers, he joins the long list of other top scholars, journalists, thinkers, opinion makers, influencers, and politicians who have been denied the right to speak because of some pretext or the other. Let's take you through this list. When tolerance was cancelled on campus, St. Stephen's snubbed Sai Deepak on the 26th of February 2022, just a few months back. The gender studies cell within the college protested and the invite was cancelled. He was called Islamophobic for his views on the hijab controversy. Remember, viewers, the ban on wearing hijab in classrooms, in PU colleges in Karnataka was upheld by a 3-judge bench. Don't forget that. JNU in 2020, JNU's left objects to General Bakshi. The left objected to a webinar on the Saraswati civilization after the general wrote a book on the salience of the Saraswati civilization. Despite protests, General Bakshi held the webinar. Again in May 2020, Jamia cancelled an invite to Sai Deepak, who's an advocate who appears for the Supreme Court. He was to speak on minority rights and SC/ST quota. On the day of the lecture, the university dropped him without a reason. Arvind Gupta, on December 2017, dropped by JNU. Gupta led the Prime Minister's Digital India drive in 2014, but the left protested and he was dropped as a speaker. JNU cancels Dr. Swami's talk. Seminar on why Ram Temple in Ayodhya is essential and important. The UNIF cancelled a sensitive talk during the SC hearings. Jamia dropped Shazia Ilmi, who's also a BJP leader, stated to speak on triple talaq but dropped. Ilmi says university was pressuring the organizers. So she was invited, but the university began to pressure the organizers and she was dropped. Now viewers, what were these comments that were made by Mr. Guru Prakash that the LSR student body found so objectionable? He said that the parda deprives Muslim women of mental and moral nourishment. Its physical and intellectual effects are nothing compared to the moral effects. He said the institution meant for development of one's own mind, this veil is not part of our culture. Now remember viewers, that these views are approximate to what Dr. Ambedkar said about the hijab and what Malala Yousafzai took a bullet for. She herself called the hijab and the burqa a shuttlecock that cages women. Will the LSR also block the likes of Malala Yousafzai? Would they have uninvited, unfriended, cancelled Dr. Ambedkar? Fundamental questions, viewers, to be asked. Guru Prakash on Dalit rights. Now, Guru Prakash Paswan is a Dalit himself. He said, fed up of soap opera politics of family-based enterprises over Dalits. Dalits are looking for a mainstream representative party. This was not palatable either. Viewers, there are many who have talked about this from the mainstream. Even our Constitution in directive principles says that quotas, affirmative action should be limited to a specific time period. Would the LSR of today uninvite the founders of our constitutions, those who wrote our constitution, including Dr. Ambedkar? Well, think about it, viewers. Think about it. I'll open this up. It's an important debate. It is obviously relevant to those who attend college, all students across the board, because they go to college in the hope that they will be exposed to new ideas. Let me first bring in Guru Prakash, national spokesperson of the BJP, Dalit scholar himself, to explain why he feels so aggrieved. The student body has a problem with you. Why do you feel aggrieved, Mr. Guru Prakash?
Rahulji, thank you so much for inviting me for this discussion. At the outset, let me express our respect for the chief architect of our constitution, Baba Sahib Ambedkar, on Ambedkar Jayanti today. Rahulji, we must understand that this is intolerance of highest level. We believe we are a civilizational nation, and our civilization has taught us that let noble thoughts come from all direction. Institutions are not meant to be echo chambers. Only one idea, one institution, one ideology, one organization. That cannot happen in an institution of eminence, and that too a top Delhi college. So we have strong and firm belief in the Upanishadic thoughts. We are a dialogic civilization. The Gita is a dialogue between Shri Krishna and Arjun, and so on and so forth. We have seen it. But this morning, what happened, and this uninvite on Ambedkar Jayanti, the Masiha of not only the Dalit community but the entire country, a Dalit was uninvited. The plain fact is this, Rahulji, that we must understand. A couple of days ago, we read the news. For the first time in the history of CPM, there is a Dalit member in the Politburo. They're not even willing to sit with a Dalit in a Politburo. How can they sit and listen and engage with a Dalit activist? How can they sit and talk with a Dalit? This is unpalatable for them. Their mindset is still feudalistic. Their mindset is still casteist and elitist to the very core. I think they now stand exposed in front of the entire country.
Okay.
They're not willing to have open discussion. They're not willing to have any conversation. I think they must do some introspection now, because they stand exposed in front of the entire country today, Rahulji.
Kuntal Krishma, let me bring you in. Kuntal Krishma, you just heard Mr. Guru Prakash, the national spokesperson of the Bharatiya Janata Party. You have seen the WhatsApp. In the WhatsApp, it is clearly mentioned that the students took exception to his views on the hijab. I've read out his views on the hijab. They're no different from Malala Yousafzai or Dr. Ambedkar. In the present day, would Malala Yousafzai also be cancelled from LSR? Number one. Number two, would Dr. Ambedkar also be kept out? Is this even healthy? And if there is, sir, dissent, another point of view, engage Mr. Guru Prakash. Don't ban him.
Rahul, I really feel sad for Guru Prakash. I know him personally. I know I know his intellect. I know he's a very good academician. But you know, what happened today is a repercussion of what is happening right now in India. This is a reflection of people thought that what could happen, apprehensive, you know, threat. What is happening right now is people affiliated to right wing, every time, wherever they go, they just have one agenda in their mind, Rahul. That is hatred, false propaganda. And today what happened to Guru Prakash was a fallout of this whole new episode of Indian politics. Guru, apart from being an academician, Guru, apart from being a Dalit thinker, Guru, apart from being an intellectual person, is also associated politically to a party which is today just engaged in dividing India on communal lines, which is just trying to shift India's focus from real issues and just want to have India on another communal divisive line. So any institution, and let me tell you, LSR is an institution which is being promoted by a trust which is from Shri Ram family. So if someone says that LSR banned Guru or they asked Guru not to come because they have got some affiliation, so this is not true. I am truly saying that any institution would not like that environment in their campus be polluted.
So Mr. Kuntal Krishna, explain to me.
Probably forced LSR and their student union
very quickly. Very quickly, sir, explain to me the two reasons that have been cited. Let's keep it to the subject. You say, oh, I feel sorry, his affiliation, you know, with the BJP. You're trying to say that, though you're a great friend of Mr. Guru Prakash. You're certainly not living up to your role as a friend, but that's immaterial. I just want to ask you, sir, if he has said what he has said about the burqa, how is it any different from what Dr. B.R. Ambedkar has said about the burqa? So would B.R. Ambedkar also be cancelled by LSR? It's a simple question to you.
Rahul, I told you this is about apprehension.
Oh, so the apprehension would be that Dr. Ambedkar would come out and say, and let me quote him. Let me quote him. Let me quote him.
No, Rahul. No,
as a consequence of the Parda system, a segregation of the Muslim woman is brought about. These burqa women walking in the streets is one of the most hideous sights one can witness in India. There is an apprehension about the Congress party. If you believe a large number...
Rahul...
No, 1 minute, let me finish. If you believe a large number of Muslim intellectuals themselves, they feel that they've been betrayed by the Congress party because, sir, it is two-faced about minority rights. There is a whole report that has been written. So should every Congress spokesperson, leader also be kept out of institutions on the apprehension that they share the same ideology of the Congress that let down India's Muslims? I mean, where will this end, Kuntal Krishna?
Rahul, see, today India is witnessing a different kind of political environment which is being pushed.
Okay.
Let me make very clear, which is being pushed by RSS and its allies. So today what we saw was an apprehension that there could be something, there could be another talk which could lead India on the path of divisiveness.
Okay.
And an institution like
okay, fair
LSR,
enough. Let me open this up further.
Fair enough. It believes in inclusive politics.
Fair enough.
It believes in inclusive society.
Guru Prakash would have been, there is an apprehension that he would have said something that would have led to more division. Well, Afzal Tere Qatil Zinda Hai was chanted on JNU campus. His hanging was described as a judicial execution. That was okay. The words were uttered, allegedly, by Umar Khalid and Kanhaiya Kumar, or both. That was okay. That was not spreading divisiveness in Indian society. There was no apprehension then. That is allowed. Okay, let me open this up. Jai Sai Deepak, how would you respond to Kuntal Krishna today? I'll bring in Aarti Tikku, who was herself a victim of cancel culture. Both of you have been. Yes, Jai Sai Deepak.
I don't know if Mr. Krishna's views actually cut ice, because at the end of the day, assuming for a moment that Mr. Guru Prakash's opinions don't sit well with somebody's worldview, I think this was a fantastic opportunity, if at all, to expose him, if that's what they felt. When someone's giving you an opportunity to engage with you, and he's giving you an opportunity to scrutinize him to the best of ways possible, and he's coming in without a predetermined script, opening himself for an interactive session, which would have been streamed live and recorded live, it shows the courage of his conviction on his part to expose himself to the most withering of scrutiny from the students. Now, I don't see the point in this kind of preemptive anticipation of some kind of hate speech by association, because if that's the case, I don't think any political party today, and I don't think only the BJP should be singled out for this, any political party should ever be allowed, or any person associated with any political party must be allowed any kind of platform. I'm sorry to say, but this particular cancellation reeks not of ideological undertones, but of political undertones. And as someone who's experienced this firsthand with another institution, which is Delhi-based, I think that this is all-pervasive, or at least this is limited to institutions which share a certain ideology and which have a certain political affiliation. I don't think someone such as Guru Prakash should have been cancelled like this, because at the end of the day, in the age of the internet, there is something called as internet karma. And if Guru Prakash was about to make something or say something which was hate speech, or which was filled with vitriol against a particular community, that would have been caught live. But I'm sorry to say, when somebody like Akbaruddin Owaisi gets away with everything under the sun, and despite video footage being available, a court comes to the conclusion that what he said was not hate speech, we should not extend the same kind of treatment to Guru Prakash, because to the best of my knowledge, as someone who's seen his work, who's read his articles, and who's seen him speak on multiple debates, he has never crossed the levels of decorum under any circumstances. So I think this is a new form of casteism that is being practiced by certain institutions. And I think it's time that we called it out. It started with movies, now it's gone to a plain and simple debate and engagement. So we seem to have new guardians of scholarship and new guardians of what is permissible and what's not permissible. The unfortunate situation that pervades in on American campuses has now spilled over into Bharatiya campuses to Indian campuses. This is extremely unfortunate. I stand by Guru Prakash as far as this particular event is concerned. He should have been given an opportunity to present his views. And if people had a problem with his positions, they should have called him out in public, live, and then see whether he has a response to their allegations.
Okay, Mr. Krishna wants to respond to you and Guru Prakash. And Guru Prakash, a quick response to Mr. Krishna right after. Yes.
Rahul, let me make very clear to you, I also do not approve of what LSR did today. I do not approve of this. In my opinion, Guru Prakash should have been given a chance, and there should have been a healthy debate. But you know, what is happening today? What is happening today in this country? The whole situation, the whole scenario of this country has to be blamed. And RSS and this government has to be blamed because they have created an environment in this country. Let me complete. They have created such an environment in this country that any scholar who is affiliated to a particular party is supposed to be coming out of that factory of hate speech only. There is a feeling that there might be something, there might be some words which can disturb our equilibrium. So the current situation, the current government and that hate factory is to be blamed.
Hate speech and should never be given a platform. The entire academia of JNU of a particular ideology must be accused of hate speech and should never be given a platform. Please tell me which academic from JNU or TISS or any of these institutions has been deplatformed at the instructions of any political party in this country? Can you give specific instances of that? Is there any evidence-based argument that you're making here? What is this environment-based argument that you're making? What is this atmosphere-based argument you're making? Name one academic from the left of center, so to speak, who's been deplatformed at the behest of someone who's from the right of center or who's from the non-left. Which institution which is associated with the non-left ideology has deplatformed someone who comes from the left ideology? Please name it. Please proceed to name it. Please give me specific instances. I can give you at least 4 instances
Rahul,
of people who are associated with the non-left
Rahul.
platform. I can give you instances right away. Aligarh Muslim University in 2020 stopped me from speaking there.
Rahul, if I may come in.
Students of Aligarh Muslim University had extended an invitation. St. Stephen's decides to cancel me this year after a specific student group from within St. Stephen's extends an invitation. Guru Prakash has just been deplatformed from LSR. Now please give me comparable instances from the other end of the spectrum. I'm happy to hear you out. Please go ahead. Give me instances. Fact for fact.
Rahul,
no general nonsense.
Yeah, respond to him. He's asking you.
I've given you examples. I've given you specific instances. Counter me with examples, please.
Please
Rahul,
respond.
Rahul, let me tell my friend that I sitting on Times now, I am saying that I am not with the decision which LSR took today.
Then there
I am
is the
not with the decision. Guru Prakash is a teacher first. Let me finish. Guru Prakash is a teacher first, a very celebrated Dalit thinker. So if he should have been given a chance, despite their apprehension, that whatever is happening in India today, despite their apprehension, he should have been given a chance. But we have seen violences, we have seen violence on campuses, which are fueled by RSS and government machinery, which are propagated. So an institution of repute will refrain itself.
Okay.
It is not only the case of LSR. Any institution who is having such a kind of reputation will refrain. Yeah.
Now, which RSS-backed institution or Sangh Parivar-backed institution or student group initiated violence during the CAA, and which institution are you talking about? Can you please come out with examples and instances?
JNU, sir, JNU.
JNU mein RSS ne
what happened in JNU? What happened in JNU?
Is that your argument?
But I don't understand.
Sir,
Mr. Krishna, surely this is an apples to oranges comparison.
AVP, sir.
One second, this is an apples to oranges comparison. Was anyone speaking on the CA when violence erupted in JNU? No. No, one second, please. Mr. Krishna, we are talking about an invite being cancelled. We are not talking about student agitational politics. Okay? There are many instances in the past where GNU has seen violence, stabbings during elections, etc., etc. Let's not compare apples with oranges. You yourself are saying that LSR should have invited this gentleman. They haven't. Anyhow, let me bring in Aarti Tikku. Aarti Tikku, what do you make of this? Oh, you see, Mr. Guru Prakash is associated with the BJP RSS ecosystem, and therefore he's doing himself a disservice. That's the reason.
Rahul, this is certainly post-colonial of India practicing untouchability against Guru Prakash, who is a great Dalit thinker, scholar, writer, and I have huge admiration for his scholarship. Now, it is really unfortunate that LSR, which was once upon a time self-proclaimed progressive bastion of feminism, today it does not stand for the values of progressive feminism, because that is the issue that they have an objection over in this particular case, because they objected to the remarks, to the comments that Guru Prakash has made on hijab and burqa. It's very unfortunate that this so-called feminist bastion does not agree with the principles of feminism today. Instead is actually conniving and conspiring with the Islamists of this country and probably the rest of the world also to push an agenda, push a perspective which is completely regressive against Muslim women. It's shameful that they do not understand how hijab and burqa are fundamentally patriarchal Islamist ideas which are thrusted upon women. Now, many people would say that, women wear hijab and burqa by their own volition. But honestly, if you look at the history of hijab and burqa across the world, especially in India, it has been thrusted on women. For example, in Kashmir, women were forced, women were shot at for not wearing hijab and burqa in 1990. And with those kind of incidents, hijab became a fashion, hijab became a norm in Kashmir. And it's true for the rest of the country as well, because lot of Wahhabi and radical Islamic institutions, Maulvis and Maulanas trusted this as a mandatory garment on Muslim women.
Okay.
So for LSR to stand by Islamists today, for LSR to stand with people who are justifying this patriarchal garment, it's a shame that they censored Guru Prakash, who's an excellent secular scholar. Second point is that Guru Prakash is entitled to his views. Let us say that LSR does not agree with his political ideology. But are we going to create untouchables because somebody is associated with a political party? It is shameful. Because
it is shameful.
LSR
Political
is the same
untouchability
institution which has invited time and again people who were associated with the left, people who were associated with the Congress party, people who were associated with even Marxist-Leninist ideology. And today they have an issue with Guru Prakash only because he is associated with the BJP. Either there should be a blanket ban on every single scholar who is associated with one political party or the other, or you have to have room for all kinds of views and all kinds of political parties and all kinds of people who have affiliation with different political parties. So it is complete hypocrisy of LSR. There is an Islamist leftist nexus in India,
okay,
and it is being controlled by the post-colonial elite, English-speaking elite of this country.
Monojit Mondol.
And they are creating, I would say that, a mass level of censorship only because the BJP or the RSS or you can say Hindu right wing has a certain point of view and they are in power. I do not buy the argument which one of your panelists was making, that there was an apprehension that it will cause riots and violence. How can ideas create violence and
absolutely. How can ideas create
riots?
violence on college campuses? Let me bring in Professor Mondol. Professor Mondol, this is rather bizarre. A progressive feminist college, Aarti Tikku says, is today militating against an individual who actually they should be backing in extension of their own stated commitment to women equality. Professor Mandol. It's a college that says, and its debating society's motto, I don't know if you know, I don't know if you have seen, but if you look at the preamble of their own debating society, it says, and let me tell you, quote, intellectual growth and thought provocation is what we dedicate our debating society to. This promotes nothing.
Absolutely. Despite my huge political differences with my friend, he is absolutely entitled to his views, and this is nothing but, I would say, equal and exact opposite to right-wing intolerance that is being shown by the people of Lady Shriram College. We have seen when Mamtadi's lecture was cancelled in Saint's defense. There was no such hullabulla though at that point in time. Mamtadi was not even allowed to go to Vatican to present her lecture. External Affairs Minister did not allow her to go. She was elected Chief Minister of a state. I'm again saying my sympathies, my empathies for Guru Prakash, but BJP cannot take the moral high ground on this.
Mr. Guru Prakash, quick response. You can't take the moral high ground on this. Very quick response before I wrap this up and move on. Yes.
By way of exact and equal idea of intolerance.
Okay.
That's it.
Yes. Quick response.
Mr. Mandal.
Neither for that
Mr.
matter
Mandal,
can the TMC. Let me tell you that.
Yours.
Yeah. Go ahead, Mr. Guru Prakash.
Yeah, Mr. Mondal, I do not seek your sympathy or empathy, but it's a matter of free speech. It's a matter of discussion. I was listening to my friend Mr. Kuntal Krishna from the Congress party, and he was making a lot of rhetorical statement about the RSS. Sir, we know that RSS today, ABVP, which you are mentioning time and again in your observation, ABVP is the largest student union of the country. Bharatiya Mazdoor Sangh, which is also part of RSS, is the largest trade union of the country. Bharatiya Janata Party, which is also part of the RSS, is the largest political party, not only of the country, but of the entire world. Coming back to your point, Rahulji, what I said with respect to hijab, with respect to burqa, it was Baba Sahib Ambedkar. And I quoted this from his book Thoughts on Pakistan, page number 255 to 257. He has categorically said that burqa is indicative of slavish mentality and inferiority complex. And I am going to maintain that. No one can stop me from saying whatever I want to say on the basis of logic and rationality. I will continue to speak, I will continue to write, I will continue to articulate the assertions and aspirations of my community, and no one can ever stop me from doing that, Rahulji.
Well, let me say, viewers, perhaps LSR was intimidated because they would be confronted with what Dr. Ambedkar said beyond the Constitution. That was the title of the debate. Perhaps they were actually wanting to censor not Guru Prakash, but Dr. Ambedkar. Think about that. I'll take a short break. We'll be right back in just a few moments.